These are the plaintiffs, Faith Green, Essie Landy, and Willie Mae Brown. Faith says her sister recently passed away, and the defendant revealed she was named executor of the will. She owes her and her sisters $355 for the funeral charges, which were not paid. Refuses to pay, and they are suing her here and now because what's right is right. This is the defendant, Rose Young. She says the plaintiffs are under the false impression she is supposed to take money out of her pocket to pay for a funeral for her good friend. Unfortunately, they are a bit ignorant, are misinterpreting her role as executor, and she's sorry, but she's not getting involved in a family dispute with the 7 remaining sisters and brothers. She's accused of staying out of it.
Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Okay, Faith Green,
Yes.
Essie Landy, and Willie Mae Brown. Okay, you are suing Rose Young, also known as Rosina,
Yes.
for $355 that you say she owes you for the cremation of your sister, and for an additional funeral service that she's supposed to pay for as opposed to the sisters having to pay for. What's going on?
Well, my sister passed away in March, and
What was your sister's name?
Marilyn Green.
Okay. And that was this March?
Yes, passed.
Okay.
Yes, and well, I was told that she was my sister's executor over her will.
Okay.
So I don't know anything about a will.
Were
and
you
how,
close to your sister?
None of us was really close.
Okay.
You know,
You guys
but
didn't talk or anything?
No, we used to talk and get along years ago.
But it's been a while?
My sister had a lot of hate in her heart.
Okay.
You know, she's been like that since I've known of her existence in my life.
Okay.
And she carried us to the day she died.
Okay.
Where the drama comes in is when she did pass. That was when I found out it wasn't. I went to file papers for guardianship for my nephew.
Tell me about that. Your sister dies.
Yes.
Your sister has a child who's how old?
10.
Okay. And then you decide that you're going to file for custody of the child. Why? Because there's no dad
Right.
in the
His
picture?
father passed away about 10 months ago.
Now, if you were estranged from your sister, were you estranged from your nephew as well?
No. Well, I can say yes and no, because my sister part, she didn't have him around the family at all.
So you filed for custody of him?
Yes.
And what happened with that?
We went to family court, and then she produced the will.
Who produced the will?
Rose.
Okay, how did she know to be in family court? Because
I filed the paperwork and.
But against, does she have the nephew? Are you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Tell me. Apparently, they don't know what happened just before the death because they're not talking to their sister at that point. What is it that happened? What is your relationship with the sister?
Her best friend.
Okay, and what happened here?
Well, back in 2007, she asked me if she passed away, would I be guardian of her son?
Okay.
And I agreed.
Okay.
So she had a will drawn up in 2007. She didn't want any of her family members to raise her son. And in particular, she didn't want her son to be around Faith, especially.
Okay. And your Faith,
yes.
Right? And what reason did she have for not wanting her son to be around Faith?
One of the reasons that she told me was because of the fact that Faith had been on and off drugs for many, many years.
Okay. So she wrote a will in 2007?
Yes.
Do you have that will?
Yes.
Okay. Faith, have you had a drug problem?
Your Honor, yes, I did.
Okay. And you're sober how long now?
Since 2007.
Okay. Congratulations. Do you have the will here?
Yes.
May I see it?
Yes.
All right. So did you, at the time that you went to family court, did you know that she had, physically where your nephew was, that she was?
Yeah, I know where he worked.
Okay, okay.
But I didn't know that she had a will because we never seen this will, anything.
Okay,
She never...
did you all attend the funeral service
Yes.
together?
Yeah.
All right, at the funeral service when she was cremated, correct?
Yes.
Okay, who paid for the cremation?
The state did.
The state did, why?
She was on Social Security. She lived off of SSI. So because of that, social services will pay $1,200 for his funeral expenses.
Okay, and what were the funeral expenses?
I contacted 2 different funeral homes. They were going to do a cremation, and they would take the voucher, because it was a voucher that you'd be given for $1,200. They were going to accept that as full payment. I got in touch with one of the family members. I only speak to a couple of the family members, and one of the brothers, James Green, contacted me, and he wanted to know what was going on.
Did you date James Green?
No.
Okay, you
Samson
dated one
Green.
of the other brothers.
Right.
Okay, go on.
So now, James contacted me.
Are you dating one of the brothers now or no?
No,
Okay.
not right now.
Okay, go
James Green said to me that he wanted to find out what was going on. I explained to him about the voucher. I explained to him about the cremation. He said that the family wants to have a service. So I said, well, if you want to have a service, you're going to have to pay for it because I only have the $1,200 voucher, and Marilyn didn't have any money. So he called me back and he said that the family decided they wanted to use a funeral home in Hempstead.
Okay.
But the funeral home would accept the voucher, and they wanted an additional $355.
Did you ever tell James, yes, the estate will pay, as it were, will pay for this?
I said to James, there is no money. He said, don't worry about it. The family will pay for it.
Okay.
I'm quoting
Where's
him.
James? Is James here?
My brother
No.
lives in Maryland.
Okay. Do you have an affidavit from James?
I have a letter stating what he read.
Yeah, he wrote a letter
Yes.
for court? Okay, let me see that. First of all, are we clear then that the $355 you're suing for are for what? Are they for cremation or are they
Yes,
for the extra
for the
service?
cremation. For the cremation.
But the voucher was for the cremation.
No, the voucher was for the services, okay, only. And
Why would the state pay for a service as
Because
opposed to paying for doing something with the body? Now, you feel that she has to pay it because she told James she would?
no, my
Because
brother,
James doesn't say that in this letter.
he claims that she's the executor.
Okay, you are,
Over
she
the
is
will.
the executor, right?
So
There's no
if she,
dispute with that.
I assumed if she's the executor, she's responsible for all of her debts.
Okay, and your response to that is?
They think that because I'm the executrix of the will, that I should go into my personal savings or checking account and pay Marilyn's expenses.
Is that what you think?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not saying.
All right.
Look, whether she's the executor of the will, well, she's the executor of my sister's bank accounts.
Okay.
She has the will. No one
Here's
in the
how
family.
it works, okay? She's the executor.
Okay.
And what that means is that she has a certain responsibility that she has accepted. Did it go to a probate court?
Not yet.
Will been
No,
filed?
not yet.
What is everybody waiting for?
I've started. It's been initiated, yes.
So there's a case.
I have a case number, a file number, yes.
Okay. What happens is that the estate is everything she left. If she left zero, the estate is zero. If she left $400, the estate is $400. You are right that it is her responsibility to mechanically, to sit down and write out the checks to pay the debts, and because that's what the responsibility she took. If you think she has to reach into that pocketbook to pay them, that part you would be wrong about.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but there was never an agreement by the estate to pay for that. You guys agreed to pay for it in any event. Tell me about the custody thing.
I wanted to get custody of my nephew. She's in an unhealthy relationship with my brother, and she's talking about
She's
drugs.
apparently
My
not
brother,
in a relationship with your
my
brother.
She's
How-
living in my mother's apartment. I'm just concerned about my nephew.
Why do you think, if it's not for love of her nephew and concern for her nephew, what do you think is going on?
She wants money
Why?
because there is a check that you get every month for him.
Oh,
Because of the
gosh,
father?
You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
How much is that check?
It's like $500-600. I haven't seen the check yet. I haven't seen one yet, but it's about
Wow.
$500-600 from what I understand.
I don't know. You know what? This is going to involve, a
Wow.
family court getting involved. It's not
Wow.
funny. I don't know why you're laughing. This is gonna require a family judge getting involved, a probate judge
No,
getting involved.
yeah.
I'm talking.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay? And, what ends up needing to happen is what's in the best interest of the child. And that's certainly not, that's not what's in front of me here today. That's going to be in front of either a family judge or a probate judge, or in conjunction, depending on how it's done where you're from, because somebody's going to have to determine something far more important than $355. And, and if it's true that you're saying you're not even with her brother, if it's true that you are with somebody that is a jeopardy to the child's health and well-being, then the court's going to take that into consideration. And let me tell you, we've got a lot bigger problems than $355. But let's. I'm going to take a short recess because I want to be able to read this whole thing. Okay?
All rise.
And welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So would an executor be personally responsible to pay the debts of the person who died if that person left with no money?
Well, I don't think so. I think there's a special clause in Like a Santa Claus? Like what?
Well, no. I think there's some kind of clause. Like, let's say if that person that died had a lot of.
You're overthinking this, dude. I'm telling you, you're overthinking it. What do you think?
Absolutely not. That's totally unfair. If they have a ton of money, and yeah, but.
Well, if they have a ton of money, you're not going to have to pay, right?
Yeah, so no, I don't think so.
I'm going to take one more chance at this. What do you think?
Absolutely not. If it is that person's debt, then that on that person is
Okay,
not.
that's what I'm thinking too. Okay, going inside the courtroom.
During this recess, I've learned a couple things. Number one, apparently what you have filed is for guardianship in family court?
Yes,
Okay, so there isn't per se a probate case out there, correct?
correct.
Okay, so you have not been named as the executor yet. So since you have not been named as the executor by a judge, and others have not had a chance to object to it, which it appears there's all kinds of objections, I am not, and there's a pending family court case where your entire right to it is through this will. I have some concerns about resolving this here. We also contacted the funeral home, and the way they do it is they're supposed to accept just the voucher. So there's sort of wise guys, I think, because what they do is they outsource the cremation because that way they can get more than what the voucher is. And so in fact, the $355 is, when all is said and done on the bills, is not for a service, it's for the cremation. The will says that my executor is going to pay out of my estate my funeral expenses, okay? This has gotten a little more complicated than small claims. This isn't really about just $355. This is really about the boy. And this is, and a whole host of other issues. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dismiss this case without prejudice for you to bring it up in probate court, which will then decide this stuff in conjunction with family court, okay, which is really where this case belongs. Yeah.
My concern is my nephew.
And if you're right, okay, then that child's not going to stay there. But a judge has to make that determination and make sure that you are a fit parent and that nobody around you is not fit to be around the child. Those are the determinations that have to be made. The problem I have with ruling on your case, and the reason I can't rule on it, is that she's nobody right now. She's not the executor until the judge says she is. So I thought that had been taken care of before you got here. That's why we had asked that question, and that's why I asked that question. And then when we got down to the nitty-gritty, then the realization was that, in fact, it was in family court. So how we're going to handle it is exactly how I said, which is I'm going to dismiss it without prejudice. That means you can bring it up again, all right, in probate court once she's appointed the executor. If you don't want to wait for her to take her sweet time to do that, you can do that. You're leaving here with a copy of the will, and you will also have the information, the case number of the custody issue, which is really what you guys are concerned about, which is really, of course, the most important thing here. Okay, everybody understand? Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Just stay right there for me, guys, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Case became much bigger and more involved than just $355 for some funeral costs. So you're going to head into probate court next?
Yes. Yes.
And do what?
File paperwork for to try to get my nephew.
Were you hurt that the deceased didn't want you involved in anything?
That was because of her personal issues. I love my nephew. Me and my sister, I can't say because she was just hateful, But I'm just concerned for my nephew. It's not no $500-600 a month. It's all about my nephew.
All right. Documents are waiting for you this way. Let's see what the defendant has to say here. All right, come on in here. You satisfied with how this has been resolved for the moment?
Yes. Yes.
What's your
absolutely.
next step now?
Go to probate court, as the judge suggested that we do, because I know that she's been a crack cocaine user for over 30 years.
This is what you're saying about each other.
No, she's not saying that about me. This is what she admitted to in court.
Yeah, I know, but she's saying it about the brother?
Right, the brother that she introduced drugs to.
Okay.
And I guess that's
Harvey?
So here's what you need to know. Different courts have different authority. For example, if it's a probate case, they have authority over wills. If it's a child custody case, it's the family law court. So you got to know which court handles which before you file your case. That will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.